Hello everybody, just a short video here to show you a couple of different options to shade your colored artwork. To prepare for this short class, I have drawn a couple of balloons. I'm going to demonstrate some hard shading on this red balloon and some soft shading on this yellow balloon. So without further ado, I'm going to, you can see here that I've got a layer here with my artwork on it, my two balloons, which I've called base color. I'm going to create a group and a clipping group. And this is allowing me to, when I paint, and I can just very quickly demonstrate this, I will only paint within the already colored pixeled areas. So just very useful for staying within the lines. I'm actually going to need um, two layers, one for shadow, which I will label here now, and another one for highlights. And the reason I'm putting things on different layers is that, oh, whoops, that didn't work. Let me just label that highlights. The reason I am putting things on different layers is that should I wish to manipulate the shadow layer, for example, I want to make it a bit darker, I can use a blend mode on a layer. Whereas if I had everything on the one layer, that blend mode would affect all of the artwork. Whereas in this particular example, I only want it to affect the shadows, and hence I have a shadow layer. Anyway, moving on, I have my shadow layer selected. I'm going to do some hard shading on this red balloon. I'm going to use a basic 5 size brush. I'm using a Wacom pressure sensitive tablet, which means that the harder I press, the thicker my line will be, and the lighter I press the brush, the thinner the line will be. So I'm going to be using that. I'm on the shadow layer. What I am going to do is just select a darker color so that I can paint some shading here. I'm going to make sure I'm on the correct layer with the correct brush. I actually need to select a brush. How big is this brush? I might make it a tad bigger. Oh, that looks pretty good. So I've got oh, it's a very dark shade here, but that's looking quite nice. So already we can see a little bit of form starting to occur here in this balloon. Our light source is coming from this direction. I can't paint there because I'm in a clipping mask. It's coming from this direction. I might throw a little bit of light here on my string. Looks quite good. And there's also a little bit of shade here on my lug. Looking quite good. Quite happy with that so far. I'm going to flick on over to my highlight layer. I'm going to go over to advanced color and I'm going to choose a highlight color. I think I'm going to stick with this brush and I'm going to just paint a bit of a highlight here. Looks quite good. Bit rough, but satisfactory, I think. I might even go a little bit lighter and put a little bit of a highlight on that balloon. Put a little bit of a highlight here on my string where the light might be hitting it. Yeah, there I have a 3D hard shading or cell shading balloon. So this type of shading is generally used in character art, in anime, and it's particularly useful where shadows fall on clothes or skin. But as you can see, the shadows are solid, blocky shapes, okay? There's no blending, they're just simply placed there. It's used in stylized cartoons, comic book styles. It emphasizes sharp edges and high contrast and creates a flat graphic look. So cell shading or hard shading. Let's have a go now and do some soft shading on this balloon. I'm actually going to use the same layer. So for my shadow color, I'm going to pick up my yellow. I'm going to go to the advanced color selector and find a darker yellow. Oh, that looks quite good. Going to use that. Now, I'm not going to use a hard brush. I'm going to use an airbrush for this example here. So I'm going to go to my brush. I've selected my airbrush. I have a color. I'm on the right layer. Might make this a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and paint some shading underneath this balloon here. Now we can immediately see that we've got a softer, definitely a softer effect here. I can even press a bit harder and really make that outside edge darker. Yeah, we've got a soft shade effect here, smoother gradient. The dark is gently transitioning into the lighter area. Let's go ahead now and have a bit of a play with a highlight. I'm pretty happy actually with that. That shade. I have a brush. Let's have a look. I'm going to stick with the airbrush. I might make it ever so slightly smaller and just paint in a bit of a lighter color. Oh, it's not very light, is it? I wonder what happens if I press a little bit darker. Yeah, look, it's okay, but let's go a little bit lighter, picking up a little bit more of a lighter color. It's looking quite nice. Let's go for that lovely highlight now. Okay, and put a little bit of a highlight here where the light might be hitting the edge of that string. Okay, what I can do is looking quite nice. Actually, I really do want this a little bit lighter still, a real little highlight. And I can just go and continue to lightly blend this color, um, nice and easy, just applying a little bit of pressure here on my tablet. The other option I've got here for the soft shading is I can scroll on down and use a blender brush to blend this area into a little bit more of a smoother color. Can do that. Also blender blur. So really it's just a matter of playing around to get that shading to look right. Um, so this is quite useful where you are trying to do more realistic painting, realism, painterly styles, or if you're trying to create a dreamy atmospheric mood, you will find that soft shading is a lot more useful. I hope you found that useful. Thank you so much.